South Bend Mayor James Mueller joins us. We appreciate you stopping by this morning.
Good morning.
Safety top of mind. Oh, just the last couple of days, in fact, 2 weekends in a row, we had shots fired around Eddy Street Commons. Obviously, you don't have to be told by anybody in this area what Eddy Street Commons and Notre Dame football means to the community. What are you doing about it to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, gunfire in public is not acceptable anywhere in our city. And of course, where there are more people, there's more risk that gunfire is going to hit somebody. And so thankfully, a lot of this gunfire doesn't hit anybody. It does do some property damage, but doesn't hit anybody. But it's still an unacceptable trend that we've unfortunately been seeing for a number of years. And there's a common denominator here. There's a group of people, they're socializing. They've brought weapons with them, and at some point a dispute or something occurs, and then shots start being fired. And so we've seen that across the city. Our officers have responded with different strategies to put an end to that. And then unfortunately, it seems to shift to different places, not just within our community, but also beyond. And so that's something that our officers are constantly adapting to the new behaviors that they see and working to stop it.
So last weekend, you brought in additional officers and 13 arrests were made unrelated to the shooting, just right, for these people coming in. Are you planning to increase the presence even more, and how much more can you increase that presence?
Well, so the increase of presence is important because hopefully we can discourage this type of behavior. So the way this has worked in other areas where we've seen issues is you do have that heightened presence, and you do have that deterrent that prevents this from being a desirable place to congregate for those folks that are wanting to or are driving the violence.
Does it require some level of profiling? And I'm not talking racial profiling necessarily, but just looking at the types of people there and say, it looks like you really don't have a reason to be here. And how do you handle that on a public area?
Well, like I said, it's a small number of individuals that are driving a large percentage
But my question is, can the officers tell just by looking at it, this group, they really don't look like they have any business here?
It's not even that. I mean, sometimes we know, we're familiar with folks that are driving the violence. And so then the question is, what can we do about it? And so we do need to make sure our prosecutor's office has the resources they need to be able to pursue. And we also got to work to get the evidence. This is a system where we have to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And then we need to work with our judges. We all want to give folks second chances, but the folks driving the violence, we need to make sure that we're keeping our community safe.
Are you frustrated with the prosecutor's office over this?
It's not a frustration. It's, we wish there were more capacity with our prosecutor's office, as well as with some lenient sentencing. That's frustrating to our officers who are out there every day trying to put an end to this violence, and then to go and see a lenient sentence for someone who's driving the violence. It's very frustrating, and obviously I think the community also is frustrated by that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a real quick question. We're just about out of time, but you just had the new day intake center groundbreaking a couple of days ago, and the question came up towards the end of our story that the motels for now property will be available to the city for $1. Will the city buy that property out, and what will you do with that property? Because essentially, there's not much left to rehab at that hotel.
Yeah, so the idea here is once the new day intake center opens in 2027, then we can look at this whole corridor from Bendix toward the airport and think about the future there and what kind of retail corridor that could become.
Will that be something that the city does do? Will you buy that property and essentially tear it down?
Well, that was put in the agreement for a reason, so that I expect that we will acquire that property again and put it to different use.
Okay.
I'm John Paul. Thanks for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.